Welcome to Outlaw Woodworking. You know, winter's coming, and as you can see behind me, I got a big ditch in my driveway. That's because upstream of me, one of the road culverts, a big culvert that goes across the road, plugged up, and then it diverted all the water down my little street and wiped out my driveway. But we're not gonna cry about that. We've got equipment to fix that. But one of the pieces of equipment that we use all the time here on my property is the Bobcat Toolcat. And every year before winter, and I'm running a little late because winter's pretty much here, or this is supposed to be fall, but we could get snow anytime, and I don't want to be caught not ready. And one of the things I have to do, I gotta go through the whole toolcat, change all the oil, change the hydraulic filters, top off the hydraulic fluid, grease all the joints. This particular toolcat needs new tires. I need a new set of chains. We're going to hook up the snow plow. We're going to get it all ready so that in a bad snow or something, it's ready to go plow snow. Anyway, the first thing we're going to do is change the oil, and let's get rid of it. We're going to get rid of this bucket, and we're going to pull it in here, get the oil changed, and I'll show you a little bit about the Bobcat Toolcat. Let's get started.
There he goes, it's a working man. He's trying to make a living any way he can. And he'll break his back for $1 or $2. Oh, there ain't no shame in what he do. Oh, work it out.
Okay, the first thing I do with the toolcat is I drain all the oil out, and then I remove this filter, just a typical oil change. This particular toolcat has a Kubota motor, and it actually takes 7.5 quarts of oil, which is quite a bit of oil for a little motor. But yeah, I basically remove the filter, I clean it all off, I put a little bit of oil on the rubber gasket on the new filter, and then put it back in there. And here's a little close-up of it. It's a tight little spot actually to put this filter in. It kind of runs up against the door a little bit, but you can get it in there pretty easy. And basically I just spin that in there till it's snug, and then I give it a couple more turns to really tighten it down. And then that's basically, the plug's out, it's drained, the filter's in, now it's time to fill it up with oil. And basically I fill it up with 15W40, and this is the first gallon, which is about 4 quarts. I used some Bobcat oil that I had, and then I used this Rotella 1540 to top it off, and I check the dipstick and make sure everything's good, put the plug back in, and oil change done. Pretty easy. Okay, I'm going to attempt to speed this video up a bit. Right there, that little black cap that I was just unscrewing is the vent cap for the hydraulics. And basically I clean all around that, and then I loosen it up, and then I basically start removing the hydraulic filters. Now, this lower one is a smaller one, and because it's lower, you get a constant drip out of that thing. And what I do is I get it out of there, and I put a plastic cup underneath it to try not to make too much of a mess. I stick a cup under there, and that basically I caught about 1.5 cups of hydraulic fluid out of there. And here's the bigger one on the other side. It's a taller one, and I go under I reach under between the fender and the tire to unscrew this, and then I basically loosen it, and then I unscrew it by hand. And you don't really get much hydraulic fluid out of this. You get a little bit, but this one's not too messy. So while I'm waiting for the little one to drain out, which it keeps dripping for a little while, I go ahead and get this one cleaned up and installed. I always wipe a little bit of oil on the top thread or the top rubber seal before I put it on. And I basically get it hand tight, and then I can't really get a good grip on it with usually I can tighten these filters by hand, but this one I couldn't really get a good grip on. So I used that little filter band wrench. And then I go ahead, once this smaller one gets drained down where it's just about a drip, I then get the filter and do the same thing on this side and get that one changed. And then once I got both of them on and they're both really tight, This one I had to make sure I didn't cross thread it. There you can see a little bitter angle of this filter wrench. And these aren't the best filter wrenches, but it does work in tight spots. And right there I get that one in, and then it was a matter of checking the fluids. And right there you can see the internal filter that I just put in there, and it was really clean. And then I just get this tightened down, and that was ready to go. The next thing I do is I'm outside, I clean this. This is the radiator filter cover. Right here I go through the whole machine and I grease all the different joints in the machine. And basically, so at this point I've got the oil change, I've got the hydraulic filters changed, the breather cap changed, and now I'm greasing all the joints in the tractor. And I take the safety off of the dump bed, and then basically what I'm doing here is I'm cycling the hydraulics so that I get any air that's in the system, get it out. And basically what I do is I run each hydraulic device. There's about 3 or 4, and I run them about 10 times. The next thing I do is just get the air hose and clean out the radiator. Now this is a metal screen that's on top of the radiator, and basically it's a good protector. The bottom part of the radiator stays really nice. And basically I'm going to use some degreaser, and I'm going to clean the whole engine bay with some simple green. And basically that kind of gets rid of any of my, if I spill any fluids around in the motor, this simple green will kind of clean it off there. And this is actually a concentrated simple green, so it actually worked pretty good to clean it all off really good. And I give it a pretty good dousing of this stuff. And yeah, once I just wanted to clean off everything that I've done, any mess that I've done, and clean out all the dirt and gunk that's been gathering in there from springtime. And I basically, just try to take care of it, keep it clean. Once I get everything clean, it was time to test out the snow plow, because basically I'm getting ready for winter and I need to make sure that the snow plow is working properly. And I basically take it over, I disconnect the bucket, the front bucket, and hook up the snow. I don't know why, but I actually recorded, I had the microphone on and I was recording this with the Bobcat running, which was completely stupid. But right here, basically what I'm doing is I put on, every year before winter, I put the snowplow on the front of the Toolcat, and basically I make sure that it's working. And I get all the hoses and everything, and I grease all the little certs. Like there's 2 or 3 certs. Actually, I'm sorry, there's 4 certs on the front plate, and then there's 4 certs on the actual plow. So there's about 8 places to grease on this snow plow. And basically what I do is I grease it all up. Then I use some carburetor parts cleaner, and I clean the ends off because they've been sitting outside in the mud for 6 months basically. And I clean both the female and male ends, and then I get basically I take some paper towels and clean them all off. Then I hook them up and test out the hydraulics, make sure it's going up and down and back and forth, and just make sure it's ready for winter. Okay, one thing I wanted to point out is right here is your radiator fluid, right here. Hydraulic fluid, windshield wiper fluid. And a critical thing that I didn't show when I was doing all the oil changes is that your air filter is right here. Sometimes it's hard to get out of here. Now I take it out, they're expensive, so what I'll do is I'll take these out, see how bad it is. And if it's not too bad, I'll actually take my air hose and then I'll clean this thing out. Now sometimes you have to take the battery out just to get this thing out. And I think my battery's loose, so I can... Now you can see this air filter is actually overdue for cleaning. I mean, when you see all the dust coming out of here, I should have cleaned this a lot sooner than I did. Luckily, it has that internal... Luckily, it's basically 2 filters in one, so This outside filter was really, really bad. I should have cleaned this out probably a month ago. And really it should be cleaned out once a week on a property like mine. But it does have that internal safety filter that keeps most of the dirt from getting in there. But definitely you want to clean these out a lot more often than I did. Now here I'm going to vacuum the inside of the filter box, and I'm basically sucking anything that's in there out of there. That way when I put the clean filter back in, I'm not putting it right in on some existing dirt. So I give it a really thorough cleaning before I put the filter back in. And right here I put the filter back in. I basically I get it all, like I said, I get it all cleaned out. And I almost put it in backwards. It goes this way. And then basically it has some clips, and I drop one clip down the side of this battery, and then I get a magnet and get it out of there. These little magnets are pretty good for grabbing parts that you drop in different places. And right here I'm cleaning out the cap, the cover for it, make sure not to put any of that dirt in there. And basically that was pretty much it. Now I'm going to show you actually where the fuel filter goes. I'm not going to change the fuel filter right now because I changed it not too long ago. But let me show you where it goes. So it's basically right up in the front cab. You undo the plate, and then behind the plate is the fuel filter. And it's a little bit pain to get to. Look at this buck. He's kind of distracting me. I'm working on the Toolcat, and he just comes out there and he's staring at me, and then he wanders up the hill. And then these two guys right here, I was watching them, and they start locking horns, playing around in my driveway. And it's hard to get any work done because I just love Mother Nature. It's fun to watch. Look at these guys. It's hysterical. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. In my opinion, the Bobcat Toolcat is probably one of the most versatile pieces of equipment that I have. Like right now, you can see I have forks on it because tomorrow morning I've got a delivery from the lumberyard of some cabinet plywood. And I can just go and forklift that off the truck pretty easily. And like me, myself, I've got a bucket, I've got forks, I've got a snow plow. And hopefully, actually I'm gonna try out a snow blower this year. A friend of mine's got a used one that he's gonna sell, and we're gonna try that out. May possibly use a blower also. Sometimes blowing the snow can be better than plowing. A lot of times when you're plowing, you're pushing your DG all over your property. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and yeah, we'll see you next time. Later.
He goes, it's a working man. He's trying to make a living any way he can. And he'll break his back for $1 or $2. Oh, there ain't no shame in what he do.